Happy Pride Month, Internet! Ugh. I'm sick. So sick. Happy Pride Month, Internet! It's a miserable day outside right now, so I figured I'd take a minute to chat with y'all inside. Really miserable outside right now, so I'm sitting in my office talking to you all about the fun things that Big Sky Life is working on for this month. So some of you might know last year I put out a video that got a bit of attention around the Edmonton Pride protests. And this year, because the Pride Festival ended up being cancelled, I've decided to follow in and basically follow a lot of the other events that are still going on this month. From my perspective, I think that Pride really has three major components that are all very important. The first is the most well-known, and that's celebration. So that's people going out and partying their faces off because they're feeling happy, they're feeling excited. I've heard a lot of people call this month Gay Christmas, and I think the name really fits in a lot of ways. But the problem is that's not the only thing that we should be talking about or doing during Pride Month. So the second thing is honoring our past. I think we should be really paying attention to where we've come from, the traumas that have led us here, the people who have taken the charge. We have this history, this rich, amazing history, and a lot of us don't really do anything to recognize it, and we're just at this point where we want to move on with our lives. And while moving on and celebrating is great, I think the minute that we think that the past is done and that we don't have to pay attention to it anymore is the same moment where we lose sight of the most marginalized people and the people who we still need to lift up in our community. And I think that's a large part of why we've seen so much upheaval in the Edmonton queer community in the last year. So the third major component of Pride, in my eyes, is education. The big, kicker, everyone talks about Stonewall. This is the 50th anniversary of Stonewall, which was a riot. One of the things that really did is it gave LGBTQ people across the world an opportunity to start the conversations and start educating people about our experiences and the experiences that led to that riot. And so I think the second we stop educating, we are in trouble. So all that said, I think there are a lot of really cool things happening here in Edmonton this month. One of the ones that I've already gone to is on June 1st, Strathcona County had their very first Pride. So it was Pride in the Park. It was the very first event. Last year they raised the flag for the first time, and this year they had their very first, come out and learn about queer folks and celebrate queerness in a park. It was great. I went there. That's actually the next video to come out on the channel. January 8th, there are over a half a dozen events of various types throughout the city. I'm going to be going to a few of them to film and to talk with the organizers, really to kind of talk about what Edmonton Pride looks like when we don't have a big Pride festival like we have for the last 35 years. Moving on to the rest of the month, I know that there's a Stonewall 50th anniversary march happening. There are plenty of film screenings, parties. So there's lots of cool things going on. And by the end of the month, I hope to be able to show Edmonton and other people who are paying attention to our city that even without this big festival that had grown up around Pride Month, we still have a very, very large community that is very active, full of people who are organizing to make Pride Month their own. And I think that moving into next year, we're just going to see that blossom further. If the festival comes back next year, then it'll integrate into some of these things. I think some of these events have already been going on. I know the block party that Evolution hosts is actually in its third year this year, but a lot of people didn't know about it because Pride, the festival overshadowed it, right? So all of those things, there are a lot of important things, and I think that Edmonton as a community, we have the space to have all of these sorts of different perspectives represented through different events. keep an eye on this space for all of my Edmonton Pride 2019 coverage, and keep following Big Sky Life on Facebook and YouTube to see the new stuff that we have coming over the summer. I think it's going to be great. Thanks so much.